I'm 19, I have barely any money, no connections, but I've got ChatGPT, a laptop, my coffee, and a death wish for mediocrity. This isn't another overnight success fantasy. This is a real-time startup documented from zero to a real company. Continue to find out exactly how I'm going to do it. You need to understand that no one is coming to save you. If you don't do this shit yourself, no one's gonna do it for you.
She don't wanna strip no more, don't wanna hit that pole.
Bro, where the fuck am I going?
Get my old plug, I get it in and go. Shot it, owe me something, better pay your toll. Hey, I lit the spoon and I scraped the balls.
Now, recently, I've been thinking you know what pisses me off the most? I've seen so many people with talent just 10 times better than me. Like, people that have way more talent than me. They just settle for mediocrity. And that literally pisses me off so much because I'm thinking about the potential that people have and they can't achieve it just because they don't have self-belief. Literally self-belief can change your life. If you believe you can do something, then you can.
She don't wanna strip no more, don't wanna hit that pole.
Before we start, who the fuck am I? I'm a 19-year-old. I'm a degree apprentice, which, for those of you that don't know what that is basically where I work full-time at a corporate company and I study full-time, so I do university the same as uni students, and I do both of that at the same time. Now, if you can imagine, just doing uni on its own takes up a lot of time. So doing both, very hectic, and the fact that I'm even able to do this means that I've got to use every single hour of my day to basically be able to do everything and manage everything at once. The usual story, my parents came from a war-torn country, they worked their asses off to get me to this position, and my goal is to build a software company and take you along the way and be as transparent as possible and inspire as many people as possible so that they can have belief in themselves to be able to take action. And most importantly, I want to put pressure on myself, because if I do all of this and if I succeed, then yes, I get to win, I get to live that winner's life. But if I fail, that means I fail publicly, and that is extremely hard thing to overcome, right? So that's why I'm doing this, so I can apply pressure to myself. And for those of you football fans, you know that pressure makes diamonds. And if I apply that pressure, then I'll become a diamond. Nah, that was so cringe. The system and the plan that I'm about to tell you next is exactly what I used to think of the idea, go ahead and create the web page, go ahead and identify, understand, validate what I need to do. Everything that I did is what I'm going to tell you about next. So let's get straight into the video. So as you can see, let's start off with a pain point finding system. So this essentially means a system that allows you to find unlimited products, okay? First off, you need to understand this crucial thing. There's no such thing as a saturated market. There's always going to be problems that need fixing, because every time there's a solution to a previous problem, there's going to be more problems that come with it. And then in this day and age as well, with that additional development in technology, there's a bunch of problems that come with it, and that means that there's a bunch of solutions that are required. So how do you go around creating a system that allows you to think of unlimited products with actual pain points? So you want to first start off with thinking of huge, like massive problems that most people have with a huge pain point. You want to then zoom into each one of these pain points and then break them down into smaller pain points. So you want to go down the ladder, and I'll show you an example of this later. You want to then create a long list of smaller pain points that you can think of. Uh, at this day and age, I'd say think about technology and things that we now have that we might not have had in the past. Of course, AI being the biggest one. And then this is where you can then get creative and then utilize ChatGPT to think of a solution to make a business. A lot of people think that from the get-go, you're just meant to be creative and just, magically think of like the $1 billion idea. It's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. You have to think of huge problems that need fixing, and then you have to go deeper and deeper into them until you get to the smallest part. And then from that position, you can get creative in order to find a solution to that problem. So let me give you an example of this, of what exactly I mean. Let's think of a huge pain point, unemployment being one of them. If we break that down into a smaller pain point, we call it large pain point. What is the cause of unemployment? The cause of that is there not being enough jobs. And then what does that lead to? That leads to higher competition. So that's another pain point. There's a lot of competition. And then if you dig deeper into that, you'll find out that you need to apply to a lot more jobs to secure a role because of that higher competition. And so if you dig even deeper into that, into as small as possible, you realize that now that you have to apply to a lot more jobs, a pain as a result of that is that application process is long, tedious, and repetitive. And a lot of people can't apply to as much jobs. They can't apply to a lot of jobs because of how long an application process may take. So now that you've broken unemployment all the way down to application processes are long, tedious, and repetitive, you can then be creative. You can then utilize ChatGPT to help you to think of a solution for this problem. So I've given you an example. This is something that exists, by the way, so you can't just go ahead and create this. So the solution for this, for example, would be create a software using AI that saves all your application information. And then when applying for a job, it will then read and fill it in for you, which means you can apply to a lot more jobs than before and increase your chance of getting a job. That is definitely possible, and that it already exists. Now, that would have never just immediately came to your mind by being creative if you did not go through each one of these steps and break that huge problem down into much smaller fragments. Now, I do have a system myself that I created that doesn't just look at one pain point, but allows you to find all the biggest modern day problems and then break them down into smaller fragments. And I will create another video on this, potentially my next video. So if you want to see that, then please note that down in the comments and subscribe as well, so you can see it when it comes out. So once you've created your product and you've used this system to create a bunch of products, you want to then utilize ChatGPT, and you want to understand more and validate the idea. So essentially what ChatGPT will do is that you can basically utilize it to understand if that product actually is feasible. Like, can it actually work with the current technology in hand and with the current processes and your current position as well? What is required in order to be able to create that product? So the most important thing you need to understand about ChatGPT is that when you're asking it something, if it is not given enough context from the very start, it will make a lot of guesswork to fill in those gaps. Okay, so the most important part here is context. Okay, if you do not give it enough context, then it will make a lot of guesswork, and probably the rest of that chat is basically finished. Like, you're not going to be able to get good results for the rest of it because it's already given the input of random information because you did not give it to it from the start. So this can cause a lot of confusion, and it will essentially give you worse results. Now, what you want to do is, in order to fix that issue, is obviously give it a lot more context, but there's some techniques and high-level prompting techniques that will allow you to get even better results. So first of all, you want to make it clear at the top what you're asking. You want to then give it more context on that question. You want to then give a huge amount of context on whatever it is. So on yourself, your personal position, your idea. Just give it like a shitload of, at the bottom of your question, a shitload of context, and tell it everything you would want it, you want it to take into account before answering your question. Now, this is a trick that I think I created. It actually was really helpful. A very important trick that you guys should be utilizing is you want to ask it a question. This is if you don't know how to prompt it and you don't know what information it needs. You want to ask it a question, whatever question it is you want to ask it, and then you want to ask it to create an in-detailed prompt for itself. So you want to say the question, and then you want to say, give an in-detailed prompt for this question, and you'll create the prompt for with all the detail that it needs, with a bunch of guesswork, and then you're going to then edit that prompt that it created for itself. You want to edit it to suit whatever your needs are, and then you want to copy and paste whatever you've edited, and you want to literally resend it back to that ChatGPT prompt, and then it will give you way better results. Another thing you need to understand is what you be asking ChatGPT about. So once you've created your product, what actually do you want to ask it? So first of all, you want to ask it if the idea exists already, because you don't want to go into a market with high competition. Okay, you want to make it easy for yourself. So you want to know if the idea already exists. You want to know if the idea is actually possible. You want to know what is required to make your idea into a reality. So you want it to create a step-by-step, actionable and realistic plan for you, or at least support you in creating that. Now, once you've confirmed, understood, and validated your idea, you then want to write down your step-by-step plan into a blueprint inside of Notion. This is what I use, and is what's helped me to get the best out of everything I've planned out and everything I've learned. You want to keep it all in one place so that you can develop and you can keep working on it, and then you know what steps to take for the future, basically, and it's not all in your mind. So within Notion, what you want to do, you want to create a tasks and notes database on here for all the actions. You want to use Notion to optimize your productivity. You also want to plan out what you need to do and how you're going to do it. You want to also save all of your lessons and new learnings on here. The whole point of this is you want to plan out everything in one place. You want to then record all your lessons, everything you've learned, and you want to keep it in one place as well. And then you want to utilize it to take action, because if you've planned out everything you've wrote down everything that you've learned from, it becomes very easy to take action. Now, you want to do this so that everything you need to work on is all in one place, right? So why exactly do you want to do that? Because if everything is noted down, it will make it very obvious anything that is missing, okay? And I've experienced this firsthand. And not only that, but it will also reduce the clutter in your brain, making it straightforward what you need to do so that you can take action as quickly as possible. You don't want to create a blueprint on the business alone because you might not be capable. You want to create a blueprint that turns you into the person who is capable. So what I mean by this is you don't want to create like a Notion page of just your business, okay? Because you can keep working on your business, but you as a person might not be capable to make that business. So your overall goal should be to change yourself and make yourself the person that can that has the capacity to be able to build that business. So, for example, if you look at this is my Notion page. As you can see, I don't just have like this business and lessons page here. This isn't my only focus, and coding isn't my only focus. I'm teaching myself all the different things that I require. So I focus on gym. I focus on optimizing my meals and my health. I focus on reading books and lessons on everything else that I need in order to grow as a person, to become more knowledgeable. I focus on managing my finances, managing all my tasks that I need to do, creating a command center for all my tasks and notes. See, if I just created this, right, I would not be able to go as far as if I developed everything on here, because this everything here will make me the person that is capable of creating a business rather than just this. one of the most important things that I suggest you start off with in your Notion page is creating a dashboard with like a command center. So with all the tasks, all the notes that you want to do, and it will look something like this essentially. So all of your different tasks that you need to do with all the dates, blah blah blah, and then the same for your notes. Now, if you want to know how to create something like this on Notion, I've put a link in the description below of a video that I actually copied and utilized. So if you want to learn how to do that, then go watch that video and follow it exactly how it is. Once you've planned out everything and you've created your product and you've validated it and you've understood what's actually going on and you know what you want to do and you know the steps that you need to take in order to move forward, you want to then move on to V0. So what is V0? V0 basically allows you to create a web page purely using prompts. So what this allows you to do is it allows you to turn your idea into something of substance. Why do you want to do this? You want to do this because, again, it can help you visualize your idea, understand what you want to create more clearly. It will allow you to quickly create something that can show others and get their thoughts, known as the MVP, which stands for minimal viable product. So it allows you to create the smallest version of the business and then basically market it out and show others and get their thoughts on it. And then, yeah, like I said, it allows you to market, make a web page live, get some pre-launch traffic if you want to, save interested people's emails. So it basically essentially allows you to speed run that process, which in the past would have taken, months because people don't know how to create websites. Or like they would have had to pay someone and they would have had to raise capital. All of that is eliminated by literally using V0, which is free, by the way. And you can just create the web page. So this is what I've created. This is the web page that I've created. My software is called Fashion AI, and all of this was purely from prompting. I didn't code any of this. Now the gain of using V0 is that it gives you all the code that you need in order to actually go ahead and take that code and then put it into something else like Cursor or Visual Studio Code, and then add on to that code to then build the backend. So V0 is a very easy way in order to create the front end. So what you want to do is you never want to write the prompt yourself because you're going to leave out a lot of information and you're going to give a lot of gaps, which means it's going to have to make a lot of guesswork, which may then fuck up your code and make it like irreversible. You want to ask ChatGPT to create the prompt for you. Okay, so here's a look at a prompt that I actually put in ChatGPT. I'll pause the video right here and just read through it. So that's the prompt, and then that is the result game. As you can see, it made it a lot more clear. It gave it in a lot more detail, and basically exactly what V0 needed in order to give you the best result that it can. So once you've essentially created your front end, you can now test out if there's actual demand for that product. So you essentially created a MVP of your product. People can see how your product will look like. You can then market that. You can then send that to people you don't know. I wouldn't suggest sending it to your friends because they might be nice to you, but you can just send it out to people, put it on Twitter, put it on Facebook, put it on LinkedIn, wherever you want to put it basically, and then check out if there's an actual demand for that product. Try and get genuine feedback essentially. Once you've done that, and if there's genuine feedback that's given and there's genuine demand for the product, then what you want to do is you want to take the code from V0 of that front end, of that website, of that web page, and then you want to then put it into an IDE. Before I talk about that, I want to talk about why you actually need a co-founder, especially if you don't have any tech background or in the field that you're working in, if you don't have any background in it. The reason I wrote missing is actually because I don't have one, and I hope that after people see this video, that someone who might be an expert at coding or anything related to what I'm creating will reach out to me and essentially get that co-founder that I need. Now, why do you want to work as a team rather than on your own? Because it creates a synergy. Keyword synergy. Oops, didn't mean to do that. But yeah, keyword synergy. And this basically means 2 + 2 = 5 and not 4. When you work together, then then the workload is halved. There's different skill sets, expertise that are broken down and utilized. You become more creative. Even like when you just have normal conversations, you're just gonna spark ideas. You're gonna, especially if it's related to a business, you're gonna become more creative. There's gonna be multiple minds thinking. The costs will be split between two people, so there's less stress on you. So basically, if you have someone that's an expert, especially in that field, then you can have that sense of relief, but that you don't need to know everything because there is someone on your side that's supporting you. So I suggest getting that as a key thing before you go ahead and into the next step. And the next step is actually developing the backend into Cursor AI or whatever IDE you want to use. The reason I suggest Cursor AI is that it essentially has a couple benefits that other IDs won't. So Cursor AI has an AI agent, which basically acts like an autonomous coding assistant that can take action on its own, and it can create files, write code, debug. Essentially, it's like a ChatGPT within Cursor. So you give it a prompt, and then it creates something for you. But it creates the code for you. But again, it requires a certain type of prompt to get the best results. One other thing that Cursor has is a chat function in Cursor. And this will act more like ChatGPT, but inside Cursor itself. So it answers questions, explains your code because it can directly look at what you've coded. So it can explain what your code is actually doing to you. And it can write snippets, but you control when and where to apply the code. So that's the benefits of Cursor as an IDE. And basically that's it. And this is the actual full step method that I have taken in order to create my business. But yeah, that's the video, guys. That's my plan on how I'm going to go from zero to hero. And that is my plan on how I'm going to create my business and hopefully be successful or fail publicly. I want to finish off by saying if this works, it really does prove something important. Okay, it proves that you don't need funding. You don't need a large team. All you need is obsession, coffee, quite good leverage, and a clear problem to solve. That's all you need. Coffee. By the way, it is 11:40 in the night, so that's why I need my coffee. And the thing is, if it fails, you'll get to see that too. So that's why, again, this is why I'm documenting this. If all else fails, you get to see that, and you'll learn a lot more than that than watching 10 of these guru videos. Okay, you'll learn a lot more from me failing and from me being completely transparent and showing you how I failed. There's 10 of these raw videos from these fake gurus. So if you want to watch this unfold in real time, then go ahead and subscribe. If you're building too, then comment in the description below. Tell me more about your project. I will reply and I'll look at all the comments. This is my public build. No fluff, no rah bullshit, just pure execution. So yeah, that's it for the video. Good night, guys.